My interest in making things go back to the early 1950s, when I was about 10 years old. In 1961 I joined Radio New Zealand as a technician and built my first audio amplifier, a Mallard 10-watt valve amplifier. This I built in 1981, a 230-watt stereo amplifier from an article published in the American Audio magazine by Professor Marshall Leach. My first hi-fi system. The pickup arm I made myself. The counterweights are made from brass and coated with brushed chrome. It used a ball bearing race for horizontal movement and knife edge system for vertical movement. These wall fixtures and hi-fi cabinet I built for a friend in 1973. And as it is today, only the ornaments have changed. The dust bug I made using silver steel and brushed chrome. Also, in 1973, I bought a Black & Decker router and made this mahogany coffee table. I was ever trying to improve my hi-fi system, and these enclosures consisted of Tannoy 12-inch monitor gold loudspeakers I purchased in London in 1971. The cabinet housing had a Garrard 301 turntable, and my pickup arm was upgraded to an SME arm. This cabinet was made for a Sony Betamax VCR and cassettes. The cloth on the doors allowed the remote signal to pass through to the VCR. It now stores CDs. Finally, my best hi-fi system I built in 1982 and still being used today. Solid sapelli mahogany wood was used. The feet for the cabinet has to support 40 kilograms of weight. The turntable plinth has 2 layers of lead for increasing the weight and is suspended on damped springs for isolation and stability. This is a Technics SP25 turntable and an SME pickup arm. This is the edging I did using a homemade scratch stock. The scratch stock uses a broken hacksaw blade that's ground to shape. The enclosure is a 3-way unit using a JBL loudspeaker kit. The loudspeaker enclosures weigh 37 kilograms, so a large footprint was made. The inside is lined with undercarpet felt covered with fiberglass bats. Making a near-field measurement of the 12-inch base unit with a calibrated microphone positioned 4mm from the speaker's dome. This avoids using an anechoic chamber. These measurements enabled me to adjust levels from the dividing network accurately. The cabinet supporting the TV houses the CD player. This was the most difficult and complicated project I ever made. I bought 2 second-hand Nikon EM film camera bodies and obtained a copy of the maintenance manual. I dismantled the cameras and cut them on a bandsaw and smoothing the edges on a lathe. The front chassis are screwed and glued together. The rear chassis are glued together. There were several linkages that needed to be made, and this one, the most difficult, is the 1-3-1 film winding mechanism. For synchronizing shutters, this screw adjusts the left-hand trigger point and the right-hand trigger point. Some wiring needed joining together for exposure adjustments. The finished rig took almost 2 years, known as an EM3D camera, coined by Andreas Petersic, whose basic design photos I found on the internet. By 2019 I was having problems storing all my books, so I built a couple of open book cases. That's me routing the rebates. This is an unusual and very old way, using the ceiling to clamp the sides while gluing. This is a more normal way, using sash clamps and F-clamps. The finished open bookcases, built during COVID-19 lockdown in 2021. In 1976 I built a drass and chessboard and backgammon set based on articles published in a British woodworking magazine. By flipping the board over reveals the backgammon side. I made everything excepting the chess pieces, which I already had. The cloth-covered box holding the pieces fits into the folding board and stored in a leather case. These are just some of the things I have made over the past 60 odd years.